can't believe it's been 4 months since I last gave you a full tour of the garden. I mean, that speaks volumes, doesn't it, about what it's been like this year. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you, you think, end of April, so we're at the beginning of the growing season, really. And what we're at now, we're at end of August, so we're at the end of the growing season. There's quite a few changes, I would say, since then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you around here. We'll start at the greenhouse as ever, and then we'll go and have a little look in Mike's Squash City over there and see how that's getting on. And then before we go, we'll take a little look over the fence into his allotment and just see what improvements he's made so far. Right, greenhouse number one, as ever. Not a lot going on in here. I showed you last week, I've got my onions. They've been here for a week now, drying out. Really looking forward to stringing those together. And then basically everything that was on those shelves has been taken off. And as I showed you last week, I've got these lovely, I asked Eddie what they were called, and these are called house dwarf tomatoes. They're just perfect, absolutely perfect. But then if I walk you through into the second greenhouse, just look at the vines. I know I need to take off a lot of these grapes if I want the others to fatten up, but I'm not going to go around with a little pair of grape scissors. I'm just not. I mean, just look at them. Crazy. But yeah, what we did wrong last year, but we didn't have much choice, was I got my lovely peach tree and I put wires, because the idea was I was going to grow it along the sides of the greenhouse, but it's just too big. So when that dies back a bit, it's just getting covered in grapes, look. When that dies back a bit, we'll be digging it up and putting it in Mike's poly. But yeah, if we look at the chilies down here, do you remember last week I showed you these and asked for advice in the comments as to what they were? Well, the general consensus was champion. So I'll take that because they're meant to be a lovely chili. But if we look over here, we have got some cracking padron peppers. Look at them. There's about, I think there's about 5 on that plant. Look at those. We're getting loads of them. So, well, I say loads. I mean, it's loads for us. There's another one here. There we go. So, yeah, dead pleased with them. Right, if I show you the fruit cage here, you can see that it's not really full of much fruit. It's just been, I'm going to say, a disaster. That's the wrong word, but we just haven't got to grips with it this year at all. So what we ended up doing was just filling it with pots of things. So if you look at that kale, it's beautiful. Raspberry there with a couple of little raspberries on at the bottom. They'll be getting eaten. But what I'm excited about, I know to anyone else, these look like very small little blueberry plants. But if you remember the trouble I've been having with these year on year, we've actually had a good picking of blueberries off them. If you look, we have actually got proper blueberries. Look at that. Who'd have thought we could grow a blueberry? So yeah, this is the Silver Grow. Let me get this right. Peat-free, ericaceous, organic compost. So we potted the old plants up in that. And I've got to say, they've looked quite healthy this year. I think this time last year, they were just looking like they were absolutely past it. So yeah, they live on. So, oh, look, that's fallen off in my hand. That means that's ready to eat. Right, okay, let's try them. Oh my goodness, they're delicious. If you just take a look at how laden the blackberry is. Now, the only thing is, as with anything, it can be really laden, but it's not covered. I did try covering the tayberry, it just blew off. So we shall see how many we get, but they are looking really, really good. Finally got some peas. Do you remember I did 2 sowings of peas and both lots got nobbled by the slugs, but eventually 4 appeared, 4 plants made it to like more than a couple of inches high, and actually out of the 4 plants they're really cropped quite nicely. This is just the end of them here, but yeah, that's on this side. And then if I go round, oh, there we go, there's a clue. Potatoes. On the other side, all the way around, we have got pink fir apples that were just plonked in because we had some spares. So yeah, they're just starting to fall now, so it won't be too long before we start enjoying them, because they are such a beautiful potato. The marjoram, as ever, is just buzzing with bees, but you can see, I think I showed you earlier, that this is just completely flattened, so it needs a really good chop back. But here I have got my cauliflowers, cannot remember the name, but they have been covered. Still got a few holes in there, but actually the leaves themselves are looking a bit healthy. And if we look at the opposite bed, here we go, and there's my shadow. It's great filmmaking, isn't it? You know what? I'm actually having to film this on my phone because I'm having problems with the camera. This is what is left of the purple sprout and broccoli, and we are still getting tiny florets. But bless him, Mike has been absolutely brilliant hand picking off all the caterpillars because it's not covered. And with it being the only one in the bed, they are making an absolute beeline for it. But yeah, even if we don't get any more florets off that, the leaves themselves are nice enough. So while it's looking healthy, it can stay. But what we have had trouble with this year are the courgettes. We have got these yellow ones called Zephyr. Let's just show you. Well, that one's okay, but the slugs, again, it's the slugs, seem to absolutely love them. This one's been got, look. So by the time they get to anything, look at that. Look at that. That is horrible. Oh well. Yeah, it's they're not really coming thick and fast, so I think I'll be back to my normal green courgettes next year, but we don't really know what this one is. Again, it's a garden full of surprises. But I've just oh, there we go. I think it's a Romanesco. Let's go around the other side. Yes, there we go. That's more like it. In fact, let's give that one a twist, because that's how we big old courgettes is. Give it a nice twist. It's not ready to come off. It probably doesn't want to come off. Oh, well, there you go. It's not quite ready yet. But at last, we've got a couple of what look like half decent courgettes. So, yeah. That's all right, Rocky. That's just the asparagus and the strawberries. Yeah. Just make yourself at home there. I think I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he knows what he's doing, to be fair. We've just got this old strawberry bed. Now, what I'll be doing very shortly is cutting off these runners to let all the energy go back into the main plant and produce a healthier plant for next year, because these were all runners this year, so they need as much help as they can get. And if you're screaming at the television and saying, Jane, it's full of forget-me-nots, pull them up before they self-seed, too late. They've pretty much seeded themselves by now, and you know what? I don't mind. I love them, and they are so easy to pull out. This time of year, when, you know, nothing else needs this bed for fruit or anything like that, doesn't need any extra energy, why not just leave them to do their thing? And then I can complain about them next year when they come. Oh, let me show you the apples. The apples on this tree are okay this year. Look. There, I mean, that one's looking beautiful, isn't it? That'll be ready soon. Oh, it's got a little mark on, but yeah. Okay, so that's the bottom of the plot at the end of August. Right, let's get up to the top end of the plot and let me show you what's going on with these beans. Before I do though, look at these lettuce. The humble lettuce, it's actually a thing of beauty when it's in the sun like this. But yeah, at the front of the plot, this is where we had onions. We have now got, again, more squash. I think these might be butternut. I don't know, but we just filled them in because there was a gap. And behind them we have had no end of chard. We've had some brilliant kale, and at the end there, I'll show you that in a minute, is the red veined kale. But yeah, the beans on this side were the ones that actually didn't do too badly. The sun's gone in now, hasn't it? I want to say hasn't done too badly. That is a win for me. But yeah, they've got flowers on. These are the gigantes and the borlotti, and to be honest, these are the ones I would have been more upset about if they hadn't come to anything. So they are flowering at last. They haven't got too nobbled by slugs, and who knows, we might even get a bean or... Oh, look at these! You see? That's how they should look, isn't it? That's how all my bean plants should be looking at the minute. But oh no, that's like quite an oddity when you see it like that. But yeah, they need to do better next year if they're going to earn a spot. But there we go. Better than the ones on the other side. And then on this side we've got the nice shallots, which really we need to start thinking about pulling up now. And behind there we have got netted cloches full of kale, all doing okay, but not brilliant, again because of the caterpillars. And here's our sad row to make everybody else feel better about their beans. French beans or pole beans, depending where you are. But yeah, this was, oh, how many times did I replant? I think I said this last time. I planted twice direct, and then I planted 2 lots of plants, and this is what survived. So I suppose if I just squashed all those together, it would look like quite a lot, but because it's such a long row, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? So I'm going to walk past these quite quickly and show you what I'm really pleased about. We've got some leeks in there which have taken and doing beautifully, and these onions once again. I'm just going to have to show you again with my hand next to it. I know it's not huge, but that's a good size onion, isn't it? Looking forward to that. Oh, sun's gone in. If you remember the swede that I thinned out last week, just stripped over a board, they've picked up really nicely, thickening up nicely. And then if you look at the leeks and beetroot that I put in last week, remember the beetroot had those rotten grubs in. I wasn't too sure if they'd take, but they actually look okay, you know. I think they're going to be all right. Next to them, I've got some beautiful fennel with, I think, celeriac here. It was either celeriac or celery. Looking good though. And then in the box next to them, again, look at the lettuce. That's ready to pick. Gorgeous. And some, that's the celeriac at the back. Okay, but I really want to show you the last box. Do you remember I put the heritage peas, the King Tut peas, in here? They were only small, and what I did was I actually called it a bamboozlement of canes. I got the last canes that I could find in the shed and put them together. Well, of course they weren't big enough, were they? So they've pretty much just ramshackly gone everywhere. And in the meantime, Mike came along and put some gherkins around the outside because we didn't think anything else would really come there. And these have been brilliant. Considering we've had a disaster with the cucumbers, we're getting gherkins galore. But I don't know why, because they're all like the same packet, why some are prickly and why some aren't. Because, you know, it doesn't seem to be to do with size. But look, there's loads of them on there. So we're going to be getting our pickling action going. Can you see them? Everywhere you look. Okay, and then these, the peas, I am going to be leaving these on. I did it last year, but I want to get more seeds again this year because I will be doing my little Christmas gifts to my patrons. So I'm going to be trying to get some nice seeds together to sort of spread around a bit. But yeah, it's actually turned into quite a healthy little box. got to say, considering it is the end of August, I feel like the polly is looking a bit sparse, but I think that's largely due to the fact that I haven't grown many red varieties. Oh, let me show you this though. This is the honeycomb cherry, and somebody sent me the seed. Was it you, Sharon? I'm not sure. If it's not, if it was you, can you put your name in the comments below? These are supposed to be sweeter than sun gold, and I've got to say they are absolutely delicious. Oh my word, they are so good, and they are producing really prolifically. Okay, we're getting so many on each truss, as you can see down there as well, over there. But yeah, a lot of the tomatoes that are in here are the black types. So that one is Lucid Gem, which by all accounts is meant to be absolutely fantastic. That's a new one to me. Again, we've got loads here, but then we go all the way up until we get another little truss, and then it's just a tiny one. So what I am going to do, I have taken a load of leaves off, but I'm going to top them now. They're just getting too tall, so I want all that energy to go back down into the tomatoes. But yeah, usually you walk through and you see loads of red. What's this one? Is this one? That's pink brandywine. But they are so far away from actually ripening yet. More pink brandywine. Oh yes, but these are the other ones. Now, I was telling you about the house dwarf from AD. These are his favourites, and these are called Grushovka. And I've got a feeling that's not quite... I don't want to pick it before it's completely ripe, because it will affect the taste, but I think another day or two. I'm trying to snap it there. I'm sorry, can you just see where Rocky is here now? He's just gone mad today. Yeah, and it's just nice to see some red tomatoes, but you can see that's produced some, can you see? Some lovely big sized tomatoes there. But other than that, you know, there's really not a lot to write home about. Saying that though, look at the Barry's Crazy Cherry. I might have to take it all back. Another oddity this year has been the plum and the damson trees. Usually they would be absolutely laden. I mean, I think a couple of years ago one of the branches was so laden it snapped. But now it's sort of, yeah, it's the odd one. So I think it's just having a year off. Okay, so before we go over to Mike's Squash Town, yeah, what do you think? Swings and roundabouts, highs and lows, clouds, that sort of thing. You know, because every time I might look at my beans and think, okay, I'm not going to be filling the freezer anytime soon with beans. This pink sage, I don't know the exact name, as ever. This was one of those £1 bargains at the end of the show at Gardener's World Live, and that has just been stunning. So yeah, I mean, it's already got seed pods on, so I might save some of them, but I'm definitely going to be taking some cuttings from them. Right, I'll shut up. Let's go over to Mike's squash bit and see just how he's doing. Hey, look at this, Mike.
Wow.
It's looking good, isn't it?
It's looking like a great big load of squash.
It certainly is. As far as the eye can see. So, how's it gone?
It's gone really well, I think, in the main. I think we've got some good uchiki kuri coming over here.
Okay.
We've got some lovely mashed potato squash, which is a bush squash, which grows kind of like you might imagine, to the size of a big old King Edward.
That is so healthy looking, that one. Sorry, the mashed potato
it's amazing.
Squash
It looks fantastic. And when you actually just part the leaves, it's like finding a load of duck eggs. So you just find a big clutch of them, which is really exciting, you know. Yeah. Then we've got some nicely proportioned Guatemalan blue banana, which looks a little bit like a Hubbard squash. We've got one or two baby blue Hubbards over here. We've got some lovely tromboncino, across on the right hand side down here, and that's coming okay. And another interesting one, and I'm not sure if you meant to pick it at this size or not, maybe somebody could tell us, is the partial eclipse. Yeah.
Should we have a look? Yeah.
Well, it's a partial
What a
eclipse.
beautiful rustic sign.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's certainly got plenty on, but I would take the big ones off, so it'll produce more plants. So let's just have a look.
People are going to be screaming, no, don't take it off.
I know, I might have it all wrong. It's just, it looks very much like patty pan squash. Twist, twist, twist. Oh, there we go.
I don't know, you might be wrong.
I don't know, I might be wrong.
Ooh, looks like a ghost. One of those little ghosts from Super Mario, doesn't it?
Hey!
Put two little eyes on it.
You know what though? We're all learning, aren't we? Put the squash down and come back over to your plot.
Ooh. Okay, so in this top part here, I've trimmed. Need to trim again now because the grass is coming back and some comfrey's coming back, as you can see over here. And the idea was to make some great big beds, which will be no-dig beds that we can grow tons of lovely veg in. But that's a sort of a starting point. It's kind of given me a little bit of a framework. Meanwhile, down at the other side of the garden, we've got other things going on. So down here, I've done a little bit of gardening, little tiny bit. Again, I've done some strimming. I've kind of dug out one of these beds, which I think was an old raised bed, because there's a lot of compost in there and the soil is quite rich. And the other thing I've been doing is just trying to basically salvage this old shed. So this old shed was pretty knacky and burnt out, as I think you might remember. Yeah, and so the idea was to use some reclaimed wood, which I got from a friend who's got an allotment just over the way from us, Dave. Thank you very much, Dave. And then just to try and sort of piece this thing back together. So I propped it up with a big piece of old, big old fence post that we had, and we had a couple of windows knocking around, so I put the windows in. It's all a little bit house that Jack built, but hopefully it's a secure-ish shed of a reasonable size, where we can maybe sort of dry out veg and things like that, hang the garlic, hang the onions, and it gives me a little bit of a refuge down here when it rains.